Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. It's me, the other guy. And this is all that jazz. It's me, the other guy. You know what's bullcrap? Whenever I go into work and my chest start hurting, and everybody just laugh at me.
Have you ever had this problem?
Hey, old man, you're old.
Yeah, I am pretty old.
Yes, and you also live in a dead-end county and you're really bad at your job.
My chest.
And there's no women.
Oh, I'm having an infarction.
From the creators of Placebo Laxative and Placebo Anti-Laxative Cubs, Placebo AED machine.
Good. Somebody jump off his car. Do you need the jumper cable?
No.
Jumper cables?
No, they're
Good.
attached.
It's got jumper cables attached. Just jump off the car. I gotta get home, okay?
That's right, folks. Your ears do not deceive you. Conveniently, the Placebo AED machine thingy for people who want to live and things of that nature comes with attached cables.
Wait, he's having a heart attack here. Who cares about the car? Is he not having a heart attack?
Wait a second. I thought I was having an infarction.
I don't think you understand the seriousness of this situation here. I'm missing my show. It's coming on in a half hour. Would you think I could just stream the regular show? They already took it off of Max. Hulu's my only option.
That's right, folks. The Placebo AED machine is not actually for hearts. It's for car batteries, too, as well.
Yeah. I use that every day.
Every damn day.
Right, guys?
Who cares?
Some restrictions do apply.
In a truck! In a car! I mean, outside of this car, it appears that the battery won't start.
We're not outside the car. Why'd you get to say outside the car?
I can use the real words as surreal books.
Well, I hope that your chest feels friggin' better, because now we can't even get inside the car. We're gonna need a miracle.
Well, lucky for you fine folks, the Placebo Supplements AED Miracle Machine also comes with a complimentary locksmith.
This is gonna take forever. Are they even taking their job seriously?
Well, haven't you heard their theme song?
No, and quite frankly, I don't want to hear the friggin' theme
I
song.
said, ho! Yeah! Keys to my car coming home!
Dude, your chest, take it easy.
Yeah!
gonna have-
Baby!
You're gonna have another freaking heart attack. Just take it. What is going on here?
I produce the words to the show, or else they sue our butts. But I use this made-up song so they can kiss our butts.
Yeah, that's right. Because any similarities to any other songs is purely coincidental, and Man, would you quit playing the freaking ragtime piano? I'm trying to say something here.
That's right, folks. It's actually not the locksmith. I mean, there is a locksmith, but he can also create keys for any car. Ever. It's that kind of service.
You know, it's no wonder that your show's going under. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Look, I just want to go home and watch the regular show, but Max had to take it off the freaking air, and this is so bullcrap that I'm writing a letter to your state elected official. And if he doesn't like AI, well, that's too friggin' bad, because this isn't AI. Because I'm writing a handwritten letter, unlike some people.
Don't you dare make fun of this man's inability to read or write. He's having a heart attack, dadgummit. Ben, take it down with the friggin' piano.
No, Ben, keep playing the friggin' piano. I got something to say. Thank you. You know what? You're just jealous, because you never come up with any good ideas.
I do
You
too.
haven't come up with anything.
Yes, I did.
Oh, what? The galaxy was calling? Calling what?
Yes.
A hotline? Yeah, because people had show off and...
It was calling the ethosphere.
Yeah, I heard it.
I told you the extended car warranty. It was calling, okay?
Yeah, except we don't have a car, we got a golf cart, which kind of makes this whole situation irrelevant.
No, that's where you're wrong. You see, the Placebo AED Miracle Jumper Cable Locksmith Machine also comes equipped for golf.
Shut your face.
Okay.
You know, you are always just so jealous of me.
Oh, yeah? Why's that?
Because I have something you want.
Oh, yeah, well, what's that?
A
You
paycheck.
wake up, so
Yeah,
much
a
bullcrap. You could kiss my butt.
You make a paycheck?
I make a paycheck.
How'd you get that?
I bought it.
There's no way. How much?
I did buy it with my money, thank you. It means you must know I bought it for face value.
Face value?
Get out of town. Is that a lot?
Well, if you hang on just a second or two, I'll tell you. It's like buying a truck at sticker price. Not a penny more.
Boy, I tell you, I need a fool.
Boom, boom, boom.
Can take advantage of that. Where do I sign up?
Oh, yeah.
I got to sign up. I'm as serious as a heart attack.
It's like you can't afford not to do it. Why are we talking this way anyway?
I don't know, that Treva train seems to work again with the friggin' ragtime book. Ben!
That's okay, fellas. I'll take it from here. Placebo AED miracle machine with cables and locksmith capability. Apparently, you can use it for heart attacks as well. Placebo AED machine thing. Is it really going to save your heart? Who cares? But if you do die, it's not really our fault because it's kind of in the name.
So, how exactly did we get from work to outside of the car there at the beginning?
I don't know. You remember that time I had the time stuff and we traveled through all the time?
Oh, yeah.
No, you weren't there. That's what this group was actually good.
I was there. Maybe there was something about that.
It is alive. Welcome, everyone, to the show that keeps giving you the things that you don't want at times you don't want them. This is just a regular show about the regular show. I'm your host, that one guy with the weird name that's hard to say and nobody cares. I hope you're ready to have a regular time, because I am. This show is brought to you by Placebo Magic Fork Bone Broth Cereal thing. Can't tell you much about it because I don't eat it. Maybe that's because there is nothing to eat. I don't know. Go out and support the podcast, people. Okay, so since the last time we talked, there have been a few pieces of media that I've consumed. Only a couple that I want to talk about. First one is an anime called Summertime Rendering. Yes, Summertime Rendering. Summertime Rendering. I'm not sure how you say it in Japanese, but it's Summertime Rendering in English. I watched the English dub just because it's easier to practice the guitar while watching instead of having to focus on reading subtitles. I'm sure that the Japanese dub is better. There's something about listening to Japanese or the any type of foreign language. There's something about listening to it where you don't pay attention to the words because you can't understand them. Therefore, you pay only attention to the emotion or the feeling in the words. It's the same way with music. If I could understand the Japanese language very well, I probably wouldn't care all that much for, well, no, I got to take that back. I probably would because the music's good, but Japanese music and pop, Japanese pop and rock and whatnot would not have the same appeal to me. When I don't understand the language, I can just focus on the way that it makes me feel as opposed to what it's actually saying. Yeah. Actually, I probably still would like it just as well if I had to guess. But anyway, Summertime Rendering, it is, I still have trouble saying that. My gosh. It's one of those Groundhog Day type animes where the protagonist keeps going back and reliving, sort of. It's in that vein where the protagonist keeps going back and reliving the same day over and over, except it's not exactly like that. It kind of takes the genre and doesn't exactly turn it on its head, but it does something fairly original. So, and it has some sci-fi elements to it, which is really cool. I don't want to give any of it away, but if you give it a shot, it's a pretty cool little anime. It's got the small town type of vibe to it as well. Kind of like Hiragashi no Nori, whatever, When They Cry in English, which is sort of the same type of, they're very similar anime. It's got some sci-fi and some horror elements and whatnot. I don't know if I like this one better or not. The animation on it does look pretty good though. The story, it's pretty good. It kind of has to change what it is when the second season comes around, but it's not like a drastic change in what type of anime it is. It just has to change up a little bit to where they can continue on with the story. I will say it's not the best in that genre. I would say the best in that genre is Steins Gate, which they're not all that similar, but they loosely fit in the same category. But it's definitely worth checking out if you're into sci-fi or you're into horror or any of those, even maybe like cat and mouse type anime. Like I wouldn't say it's exactly like Death Note, but if you like Death Note, this might be up your alley. If you like Steins Gate, if you like Hiragashi, Nori, whatever, you probably will like this anime. So yeah, go give it a view if you wish. And if that last audio clip was terrible, I apologize. I did not realize that I didn't have my mic cable clipped up to the side of the mic stand. So if you heard a lot of thuds or whatever, I'll try to remove them in post. But Marceline's Playground tells me that Postman is not working for So Cheap anymore. So yeah, I may have to rely on my shoddy work. But regardless, the second anime that I watched, and it's not complete yet, called Go-Go Loser Ranger, I think. And it's obviously a play on Go-Go Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Or, well, probably not even Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, just whatever Power Rangers are, I guess the original theme song, Go-Go Power Rangers. But obviously, in Japan, Super Sentai was around like 13 years before. It's funny, the original costumes for Power Rangers is like the 13th season of the Super Sentai costumes, whatever. But it's a parody on that, and I didn't expect much out of it. Once again, I just turned on something to play in the background while I was playing guitar. But it was actually surprisingly, when I first turned it on, I thought it was kind of hilarious. Now they're obviously building it up to be more than just a simple comedy parody, which, it's interesting. It's feels like it's turning into more of a young, like a teenage targeted anime at the end of the first season. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I was hoping to just stay pure comedy. But the first episode, I'm not really giving much away. It's like there's a bit of a twist there halfway through the first episode, but like the first thought that I have is they are parodying or satirizing Power Rangers. They're called the Dragon Keepers, but they're satirizing the Power Rangers and making them into like a Disney or a Six Flags type attraction where every Sunday people go to this Coliseum and they watch the Dragon Keepers or the Power Rangers fight off the monster of the week. And it turns out it's all a work. The monsters are in on it too, And yeah, this isn't really giving much away, but one of the lower ranked monsters, this is a very simplistic explanation of it, but one of the lower ranked monsters who would be like a putty in season 1 Power Rangers, but they're called the Dusters or the Fighters, whatever. He gets fed up with it, so he decides he's going to incite a rebellion. That all happens like in the first 10 minutes, but the whole first season is about him trying to infiltrate the Rangers Corps, which there's a whole bunch of them, and the best of the best get promoted to Dragon Keeper, and it gets kind of political, and you get abuse of power and stuff and things of that nature. But it's pretty interesting. But yeah, that one's not as good as Summertime Rendering, but like it's a very quick watch, and it's an interesting idea, and there are some funny things in it. It's not the funniest anime I've ever seen, but it was pretty easy to watch. I also watched I may have already mentioned, I think I did, that the newest season of Goosebumps with David Schwimmer. I think I already did. I'm not going to say anything about that. So the episode of the week for regular show this week is Under the Hood. It is an episode I do remember watching. I usually skip it, I think, as I mentioned before, when I like binge watch the regular show, about once a year or something. But it's Not that it's a bad episode. It's just for some reason the episode just never interests me enough to actually just sit down and attentively watch it all the way through. But there have been a couple, like Appreciation Day and a few others that I wasn't so fond of initially, but when I go back and rewatch them, there's something worth watching. So, yeah, maybe we'll find that today. The episode of Adventure Time that it went up against this week, December, I think 11th, 2011, was Marceline's Closet. I wonder if that's anything like Marceline's Playground. I'm not sure. I wonder if Marceline's Playground's anything like Marcy's Playground, that band from the 90s. Huh. Anyway, Marceline's Closet it's an episode. I do remember watching this one. Finn and Jake are like playing hide and seek or something outside of Marceline's house, and they're waiting on her to get there. There's a note on the door that she's off somewhere. I can't remember where it's at, but it tells them not to go inside. So obviously, they eventually end up going inside. She gets home, and, she's like the demon queen or the, whatever. She's not really the demon queen. She's like the vampire queen, or she's not even the vampire queen. She's just like she has vampire powers or something, but they're scared of her. So they hide in her closet because they don't want her to know they've been in her house. And I believe they've been going through her stuff or something. And it's cool because she's got like band posters on her wall and whatnot. And they're not exactly like what you see in regular show where you have just a blatant Pink Floyd reference, Dark Side of the Moon, or Wish You Were Here poster on the wall like in Muscle Woman. But she has like a poster that looks like one of the Beatle albums. I want to say like Abbey Road, but I'm not sure. And a couple others of like new wave, not even new wave rock, like I don't remember if it's like the Smiths or the Cure or something like that, but something of that nature. Pre-emo, whatever. And yeah. So it's pretty cool. And this episode, if I recall, has like a lot of it is sort of a filler episode, but it has like a lot of connective tissue or a lot of elements that go on in the background that play into later episodes that they kind of get referenced back to in later episodes, or they little things like I think probably when they created the story later on, they went back and took these little quirks in this episode and others, but this is one, from some of the smaller episodes, and incorporated them into the larger story. I think even like the way that one of the characters, Finn, spells something gets played into, this is kind of giving away some Adventure Time, but when I'm not even going to, the way he spells a word, he spells it seemingly wrong, but we find out there's a reason that he spells it that way later on, and it's not even, if you didn't go back and watch this episode, you wouldn't even think twice about it when they make the reveal. But it just goes to show that Adventure Time is a very detail-oriented series, and that's its strength. I mean, just flat out, like the world is very ornate and very detailed, and so on and so forth. It's kind of like a Tolkien-esque type where everything is just kind of connected, and they don't make a big deal about connecting things, but they do. I guess they do make a big deal about connecting everything on their end, but they don't go back and try to really brag about it or anything. They let everybody else pick up on it. So, honestly, if I just going back and thinking about the way I enjoyed watching these two episodes the first time I did, or last time I did, whatever, I would say that Marceline's Closet is a better episode than the regular show episode we're about to review. But that being said, it's been quite a while since I've seen this regular show episode, so we shall see. So let's go ahead and get into the details about this regular show episode. So the episode is season 3, 11, episode 11. I've got it as episode 10 on my, labeled on my computer, but that's just because I didn't count Terror Tales of the Park when I covered it with Rob. Rob and I covered it. Grammar, dude, grammar. Anyway, This is the 51st episode overall. So, wow. First day wasn't the. No, I'm sorry. When I released first day, I was covering my 50th episode, or the 50th episode of the show. So, no, sorry, I forgot I record 15 shows in advance or whatever, but whatever. It was released on December 12th, 2011, so I was wrong there. In the UK, it was released September 3rd, 2012. TV PG, 2.32 million viewers, so that's on the high end of average for this show. The synopsis: Mordecai and Rigby must catch a vandal named Park Avenue. I wonder if that's anything like 612 Wharf Avenue. Those of you that know. I want candy, bubblegum and taffy. Never mind. After having Muscle Man wrongly accused and fired for doing the graffiti. So, Muscle Man gets fired for graffiti. Mordecai and Rigby got to catch the real culprit. Production code 1009-053. Whatever that means. Let's see. Trying to find. Directed by Mike Roth. Written and storyboard by Andre Saloff and Toby Jones. So see, this kind of, if you've noticed any trends about the episodes that I really enjoy, there's usually a particular duo of writers on that, writers and storyboarders on that episode. And these two aren't those two guys. I think Mike Roth was one of those guys, but I'm not sure. But I think that might have to do with it. Maybe it's not even a bad episode of regular show. It might just be, and I'm not saying it's going to be bad or whatever, that I'm not going to like it, but it may just be the reason I skip over it is because it doesn't feel like the episodes that I am accustomed to, because this episode does have a bit of a different feel to it. It feels like it almost feels like it's not, I don't want to say canon, but it doesn't, it kind of sticks out from what I recall. So, and there have been a few like that, but I'm sure there's going to be something worth talking about in here. So, let's see, voice actors. We have Mordecai and High Five Ghosts is obviously J.G. Quintel. Rigby, guy number 1, very important role. William Sawyers. Benson Muscleman is Sam Marin. Skips and announcer is Mark Hamill. Park Avenue and guy number 2 is Troy Baker. One last thing to mention about this episode is that it's the last, this and the Adventure Time episode that I just talked about are the last episodes of those respective shows to air in 2011. So, with that, let's watch through a out-of-place Hulu commercial, and then probably have to watch that same commercial again because Hulu is acting really weird, and then get into the episode. See you on the other side. While I'm listening to this commercial for Paddington in Peru, I just want to mention that back in the day when I started watching regular show, Hulu didn't make you watch commercials for when the regular show came on. You could just watch it because it was a kid's show or whatever. Now, the commercials freeze up, and you got to replay them twice just to get to the daggum show. It's ridiculous. Anyway, now I'll see you on the other side. Okay, one last time. This is probably just more reason to buy that regular show box DVD set that's coming out. But whatever. The episode kicks off, and already, it's better than I thought it would be. Already, very first thing, I'd forgotten this actually is a pretty good episode. I don't know why I skip over it, to be honest with you, because this is the episode. First thing, they drop a bucket of paint, and it's just like this, generic beige-looking paint. And Benson's telling him, all right, paint over all this. And there's graffiti all over the park. But the first thing you see is this big orange monster on the side of, I guess it's that bathroom that kind of looks like, it really looks like the bathroom that the restroom that they had at the baseball field where I used to play baseball in high school. But anyway, it's probably a lot cleaner than whatever. It doesn't matter. There's a big orange monster on the side, and it looks like a reference to something. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But something in my head is, it's saying, you've seen that before. I don't know, but it's this orange monster. It looks pretty cool. But they're painting over that, and one of the guys is like, I'm already ready to go back to sleep or something. And Rigby says, I wish I could find the guy that did that graffiti and just, and he raises his hands in the brush up. And then he goes, he's probably out there laughing at us somewhere. And then you hear Muscle Man, and he's over on his cart and him and Fives, and Fives is obviously just smiling, not saying anything, that big vacant stare he has. And Muscle Man's got his arms crossed and he's on the cart. And he goes, you know who else likes to clean up other people's messes? Obviously, he says, my mom. And they're like, that's not funny, Muscle Man. Did you do this? And he's like, what? No. He goes, I'm an artist when it comes to prank, but I am no graffiti artist. And he touches his chest and he's got like orange crap all over him, same color as the monster. And Mordecai's like, wait, what's that on your hand? He goes, what's what? And he goes, that orange paint all over your hands. He goes, this isn't paint. This is buffalo sauce from the wings we just ate at Wing Kingdom. And he's like, what? They don't believe him. He's like, have you never been to Wing Kingdom? He goes, they always hook you up with the sauce. And he goes, show us your receipt then. And Muscle Man says, show us your receipt. And he tries to dig around and find the receipt. He says, show us your receipt. And Mordecai says, that's it. So they go to tell Benson, Benson, we know who did the graffiti, because he's painting over something on a park bench. And he's like, who? And then, they have this big argument, and Muscle Man's like, it's not paint, it's wing sauce, Benson. Here, smell. Benson's like, I'm not smelling your fingers, Muscle Man, which is just, that's just good. I don't know. That's just good. So we're going to see what happens here. Well, I kind of gave it away in the synopsis, but whatever. So Muscle Man's pointing and he's like, trying to take the fight back to him or whatever, and a spray paint can falls out of his pocket. And they're like, so things aren't looking good for him. He's like, that's not mine, I swear. And they're like, then whose is it? And he goes, okay, fine, it was in my pocket. And I was spray painting earlier, but I didn't do the graffiti. Then what were you doing? He goes, I was spray painting Fives' ride orange, but it was supposed to be a surprise. And Benson doesn't believe him. He says, I'm going to need you to turn in your keys. He says, you firing me? So, they're firing. He's like, and Five says, if he's fired, then I quit. I go. If he goes, I go too. And Benson says, fine, turn your keys in. And Muscle Man's like, that was so cool and so cool of you. And, we're going to pursue our dream and we're not coming back no matter how hard you ask, and so on and so forth. And then Benson turns to the guys and goes, I want you guys to know that you did a good thing today. You knocked a guy out and got him fired. So Mordecai's like, and Rigby like, whoa, dude, I didn't think he was going to fire him, and blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah, we kind of see the conflict of the episode getting set up here. So also that's another thing is this doesn't, I guess one of the reasons why it feels like this episode sticks out is because this doesn't really seem all that true to Benson's real character. They don't choose to go this path as the show goes along. But I mean, it is an episode, but it just doesn't feel consistent with the rest of the ways. I mean, Mordecai and Rigby have done worse than this, and they've been not fired, So, and also, a lot of episodes, Muscle Man is seen as one of the most valuable employees at the park. If not the most valuable in quite a few episodes. Ironic as that sounds, but yeah. So we immediately find out that Mordecai and Rigby were wrong, because you hear, when they turn around, there's a guy in a hood with jeans on, and he's spray painting for quite a while, and all he makes is one orange line. But he's painting over what they've covered up with the graffiti so far, and we find out that this is the guy that's really doing it. And he takes off running, and they're chasing him, and he runs around the building. He doesn't even try to make any art. He just goes and sprays a line as he's running, jumps the fence. They're chasing him to like some, it's not really EDM, but it's, it's like, I don't know, house or whatever, something like that. But some sort of music, and they're like, that didn't look like Muscle Man. And Mordecai goes, that's because it wasn't Muscle Man. And then I think we get a Family Guy reference. He goes, ooh, like when somebody falls and scrapes their knee in Family Guy, but they don't draw it out nearly as long. But yeah, so now they're going to go to Benson and try to plead with him. Benson, it wasn't Muscle Man. But let's see what he has to say. So Benson just thinks that they feel bad about getting Muscle Man and Fives fired. And he's like, look, it doesn't feel good. Doing the right thing often feels bad, but it's the responsible thing. Like Rigby, when you ratted out Mordecai for putting expired milk in the refrigerator in exchange for a video coupon, that was the right thing to do. So anyway, he's not having it. He sends them out because they're down in the workforce and, they've got things they got to do. So the next person they obviously go to when they have a problem is Skips. And they're like, Skips. And he's like, what do you want? And he turns around, he's got something orange on his face. It's wing sauce. But he's like, what do you want? You come to narc me out, get me fired too? And he turns around and they're like, what is that? And he goes, it's wing sauce. Muscle Man got me hooked on this stuff before you guys got him fired. They tell him about the guy and he's like, it must be Park Avenue. And then he explains like the origin story. And he's like, you got to tell Benson. He strikes quick without warning. And, he's quite good and all this stuff. And they're like, we told Benson and he didn't believe us. And he's like, then you got to catch him and blah, 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 blah. Where's Muscle Man? And that gets brought up. Where's Muscle Man? And high fives. And they're like, they told us they were going to go follow their dreams. And their dream. And Skips is like, wait, he said that? Oh no. And then the screen wipes and we go to the coffee shop and we're about to see what Muscle Man and Five's dream is. So it turns out that the guys aren't actually attending this, but it just goes to the scene of Muscle Man and Five's living out their dream. And the announcer is like, now time for a comedian you all are going to love. And he says, Muscleman instead of Muscle Man, Muscleman. And he comes on and he's like, so I just threw out my couch the other day. It weighed about 300 pounds. It smelled like butts. You know who else smells like butts? My mom. And then nobody says anything. And he kind of taps the mic, looks over at Fives, and Fives just kind of shrugs with two hands. But he shrugs, and Muscle Man's like, I don't think you heard me. I said my mom. And then somebody goes, get off the stage. And he's like, you guys you jerks are jerks. You don't even understand comedy. Somebody throws a tomato and hits him. And, then he kind of goes berserk. And I'm surprised he doesn't hit the floor and start rolling around like he normally does. But you're like, and he starts, running around like a French bulldog whining and sends all the people out of there. And Fives like, Muscle Man, no. So the scene wipes and the guys are at the park covering up graffiti again. So let's see what happens here. So Mordecai's like, there's no way he'll be able to resist a solid white trash can. And, we'll hide over there. And then when he gets it, we'll come out and catch him and bam, straight to jail. Then Mordecai starts trying to do this thing where he alters Park Avenue's name. So he's like, what's wrong, Park Loser New? And Rigby says, yeah, you miss your family? And he's like, looks like your kids will never get to grow up to see Park Dad New. And it's just stupid. I mean, it's like, I don't know. That one just doesn't land, but it is funny because it's awkward, I guess. But as they're laughing, Park Avenue runs up behind them and spray paints Rigby's face on the trash can. And he's making this stupid face. And Rigby's like, that doesn't even look like me. And Mordecai says, it looks like you're looking right into a mirror. And he goes, why is it just me? He goes, because I'm not a loser. And then you hear Park Avenue spraying again. And Mordecai's face, he's making an even dumber face over on the side of another building. Then they go chasing him and we get a montage. And Park Avenue's running all over the place. And he's spraying, but like you're not seeing stuff pop up in real time. It's like when he gets done, then the whole image pops up. Like the camera will cut and then it'll cut back and the whole image will be there. But he's doing it all with orange spray paint. And it's stuff of completely different colors. Like he paints like a dagger with a skull on the side of the building. It kind of does look like something that would be in Adventure Time. But he paints an ice cream truck, a complete ice cream truck. He paints like a building. He paints a bench, a water tower. They climb up to the top of a water tower trying to get him. And like he paints like a pirate's eye patch on the water tower and his face. And yeah, so it's actually a pretty cool little montage. One thing that I forgot to mention about the montage is that at the end of it, you see Pops kind of spinning around. It's a black background, and you're just seeing objects. The two guys are running, and you see the objects that Park Avenue's painting kind of drifting by them. Like they're running down just like this black background, like they're chasing nothing almost. And the last image you see is Pops, and you think it's like the painting of just this fishbowl, but you find out he's painted it on the back of Pops' head. So pretty cool. And then after that gets over, you see he's painted pretty much the whole park. Like there's a bench with a mouth on it, these feet on the sidewalk, Park Avenue. There's a snake on the sidewalk. There's like a hand gesture on a trash can, a door on a tree with a window, kind of making it look like there's a house in the tree. This little orange banner on a lamp post. It's pretty cool, actually. So as they're going up to the house, there's another... I don't know. He kind of looks like one of the dead pilgrims off of a Treehouse of Horror from The Simpsons, but he's painted on the side of the house, and they're just they're like, we're never going to catch this guy, blah, blah, blah. And then Muscle Man comes riding up with high fives and goes on. I guess Fives' ride was actually like a scooter. that's, like a manual scooter that you got to push with your foot. And it's all spray painted orange. And he's like, what's up, ladies? And they're like, basically, I'm going to offer you a sweet, not that we're strapped for cash or anything, but I'm going to offer you a sweet one-time deal on Fives' ride. And they're like, well, how much? Rigby says, how much? And Mordecai like nudges him. He's like, shut up. But Muscle Man's like, any amount of money. And Mordecai says, I think we're good for now. Fine, your money probably smells like a pile of butts anyway. So that kind of shows you he doesn't have much material to work with stand-up because he just keeps telling the same thing over and over. He's kind of one-track minded. Even though that one track is pretty cool, he's kind of like a one-trick pony that keeps changing his trick as opposed to being able to pull a whole lot of tricks out of his hat, But anyway, they ride off and they're like, we got to catch, I've got Mordecai's like, I got a plan. He's like, wait, Muscle Man. He turns around and he goes, come crawling back. And he says, no, you still got that can of spray paint. So then the scene wipes and we see the side of that same building that Park Avenue keeps painting on, that bathroom or restroom or whatever. I think it's the same restroom in the episode Jinx that Rigby goes into. But anyway, Park Avenue walks up and says, no class. And he goes up to spray paint over just the big blob of orange. And then you see a couple eyes open up on the side of the building. And Mordecai goes, class this. And what's happened is they've camouflaged themselves to the wall and they jump on him. He throws Rigby off. Mordecai kind of does a sort of a suplex on, not really a suplex, but not even a belly to belly. He just slings him onto the ground and Rigby jumps on and they're holding him down. So they take the hood off and it turns out it's just a can of spray paint. And they're like, and he just presses down on his head and sprays their eyes. He like maces them or whatever with orange paint, of course. And he gets up and runs while they're blinded, sprays into the side of the wall and a portal opens up and he jumps into it. So yeah, we're about 7 minutes in. So yeah, we're right on schedule. We're getting surreal here. So they jump through the portal, follow him, and now we are in, I guess, what is referred to as the graffiti world. So things are about to get a little colorful. So what ensues is really hard to explain in words. It is very colorful. There's all kinds of graffiti of these monsters and Park Avenue signature and whatnot. And, they're just kind of in awe of and the artwork looks fantastic, but it's like this black background, like you see at the intro, but they have all this juxtaposed against it. And Park Avenue's over there and at the, I guess in the back of the room, and he says it ends now, and he spray paints this lever and turns it, and all the monsters except for one lose color. They just go gray, but this green monster is left, and Park Avenue says, get rid of these guys, and then he spray paints the door and opens it and goes out, and the green monster comes to life, grows legs, starts coming out of this big old monster that's just a mouth, like a zipper with a mouth inside. It kind of looks like with wings on it. Starts flying at him. And then this other red monster, the little green spider monster gets feet, these red feet coming out of its eyes, trying to stomp him. And the red monster gets like these arms that picks up Rigby, and it's crazy. Rigby, the other hand's coming out, it's got eyeballs in it. Rigby spray paints them and that drops them. And, they got to get to the door. Before all that happens, there's this little joke where they're like, quick, do something. And Rigby spray paints this guy and it looks terrible. It's like, the comic's like Doodle Bob or something from SpongeBob. And he's like, that is a lot harder than it looks. And then they just stomp it or hit it or something and destroy it. But they end up getting through the door and it leads into this completely white room. No black curtains as far as I can tell. But let's see what happens. So they're walking around in this room and they keep bumping into crap and Rigby keeps tripping over crap and they're disappearing behind stuff. And Rigby starts spray painting everything. It starts turning orange and you find out it's like a living room. There's a coffee table and a futon and television. And then Park Avenue comes out from behind like a wall or something. He's, no, man, don't do that. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Not the coffee table. Don't you have any class? And they're like, you painted all over the entire party. He goes, yeah, man, well, that's different. That stuff looks like garbage. This stuff looks nice. You know what I'm saying? This literally, I mentioned Wharf Avenue, 612 Wharf Avenue at the beginning of this episode, or sometime around the beginning of this. That's from an episode in Aqua Teen. MCP Pants is the character. MCP Pants. MCP Pants comes back twice in the series. Well, more than twice, actually, but he's got 2 episodes dedicated to him. There's an Aquadunk side piece with him in it, and there's the Villains episode, and there's, a couple other minor appearances. But MCP Pants he's voiced by a guy named MC Chris. And he's always got these schemes that are just stupid. I mean, they're just terrible. But he talks a lot like what Park Avenue talks like. And honestly, like the language, of course, Park Avenue doesn't curse, but like the mannerisms, the way he talks, and like the thought processes he goes through reminds me an awful lot of MCP Pants, who later turns into Sirloin, and also who turns into oh golly, what's his name? Little Brittle. Little Brittle, that's it, Little Brittle. Anyway, oh my gosh. Everybody listening, I apologize. You're probably like, what an idiot. But what's he even talking about? But there was this show back in the day, okay, number 1 in the hood, when Adult Swim came on. And it basically carried Adult Swim for a long time. This was before regular show. But anyway, yeah, Park Avenue's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he's like, you got to go tell Benson that it was you doing it. And he's like, I ain't got to do nothing. And they start spraying. He's like, fine, I'll tell him. And they got to go through a couple more, coercive actions. And the scene wipes and it turns over. And then Park Avenue's telling Benson, he's like, yeah, I'm the one that did it. And he's like, what you going to do? Or I'm something other. And Benson says, yeah, and I'm calling the cops. And he goes, cops can't catch me. And he spray paints a portal on the ground. He starts jumping. He goes, later, you bourgeois sucker. And he gets stuck in the portal and goes, oh, man. So it's just great. This is it's another one of those Looney Tunes type inspiration, but it's a shame because I don't think Park Avenue really returns except for maybe like Exit 4B. He might be there, but other than that, I don't remember seeing him anywhere else in the rest of the series, like with any major roles. But I actually really like this character. So, that was one of the reasons why I wasn't so keen about watching this episode was I thought, he's just a bland character, a spray paint can with a hoodie. But like the voice actor really does a great job at bringing this character to life. So, yeah. Now, Muscle Man and Fives are there, so we're going to see how they interact with Mordecai and Rigby here after the fact and everything. So basically, it's all pretty much your standard, I'm sorry, Muscle Man. He's like, you better be sorry. And he goes, I'm just kidding, blah, blah, blah. And Benson says, you two, seeing as you didn't do this, here's your keys back. And Muscle Man says, well, we were killing it as comedians, so I don't know. And Benson pulls the keys back and says, wow, comedians. That's great. Maybe you don't need these keys after all. And Muscle Man kind of pauses and goes, please give me my keys back. So he give him his keys back and, he does the obligatory donut in the cart and drives off. And then the ending is actually a little bit weak. They do a callback, but it's, it's not super great. But it's like, you got to, obviously run of the mill, you got to paint over all this, blah, blah, blah. And like, why do we got to do it? And he said, you two are free to leave anytime you want, but unless you think you can make it as stand-up comedians, you probably better get to painting and, oh, man, blah, blah, blah. And then the final line is, want to go to Wing Kingdom, which is, that's kind of in character with them, but at the same time, it's like, callback could have been better. It's kind of season 1 type stuff. But at the same time, the rest of the episode was a lot better than I remember it being. And I kind of had the suspicion it would be that way, but I don't know. I figured this would, half of me, I guess, figured this would be one of the weaker episodes, and half of me figured it would be a lot better than I remember it being. And I want to say that latter half's a little bit more right than the former. It is a lot better than I remember it being. It's definitely not the best episode of season 3. It's got a lot of stiff competition in season 3. I mean, you got Terror Tales of the Park. The next episode, Weekend at Benson's, is fantastic. Skips versus Technology, if I remember. It's kind of an iconic episode. I don't think it's one of the greatest episodes, but it's got kind of one of the Baby Ducks type things where it kind of adds to the lore. I think Butt Dial, if I remember, is a pretty good one. Excellent is one of the best episodes in the series. Video Game Wizards is pretty good. So, I mean, there's all kinds of great episodes in season 3. So maybe that's why I usually skip over Under the Hood, because I don't think it's as good as those episodes, but it is way better than I remember it being. So this actually probably could compete with Marceline's Closet, and some people would actually prefer to watch it over Marceline's Closet. So, yeah, I mean, probably on the number scale, we're talking 6.5, 7, something like that. It has the your routine pitfalls where all the guys don't have to really work together. Those are obviously going to be, that's the strength of the regular show. I've said it several times, but when all the crew has to work together and collaborate, and we see how they interact with each other and they come up with these creative solutions, I guess, and, character comedy ensues, and that's great. Regular show is best at that. Other shows don't need that. I got to think about it the other day. That's another reason why King of the Hill is probably the best animated show ever created, in my opinion, because you can take an episode that has none of the main cast except for Hank and maybe one or two others, or you can split them up into separate groups, and that's what they did in later seasons. Like, they would take these weird combinations of characters like Dale and Peggy and just bounce ideas like off of, their interactions. So you don't need a whole group effort in that show to make it great. Every episode can be great without that. And sometimes some of the, not mainer, that's not a word, but some of the first tier characters aren't even in the episodes. So regular show, it's harder for them to, it's harder to make an episode just about Mordecai and Rigby, in my opinion. You end up with Meet Your Maker when you do that, But this one, that being said, I mean, it's pretty good for that, So, yeah, we'll see. Excellent is probably the next one where all the guys come together, work as a team, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And I really look forward to reviewing that one. But next week, won't be next week. I don't know why I keep saying that. But the next episode, Weekend at Benson's, it is a very memorable episode, and it's wild. It's great. It's a great idea. I mean, it's just a fun episode. So I look forward to reviewing that one. That's really all I got for the episode. There's not much else to talk about, I don't believe. So, oh wait, yeah, there is. The trivia and all that. I forgot. Let's see. So, trivia. Muscle Man's dream job is revealed to be a comedian. The first graffiti monster that comes alive is a reference to the Norris Head monster from John Carpenter's cult classic, The Thing. That's the green monster with the spider. Episode connections. Muscle Man tries to do comedy in this episode at the coffee shop, which he later tries doing again on Cube Bros. That's I think that's like a it's one of the later seasons, like a season 7, something like that. Muscle Man goes and works in a cubicle, I believe, like an office job. Production notes. This is the last regular show episode in 2011. This episode received 2.324 million views. Okay, so that is all we've got. Cool. We have been getting reviews to the show, which is really cool. I've addressed every one of them so far, I believe. If you would like to get a hold of the show, you can leave a review on Apple Podcast, whatever it is, Spotify, any type of rating helps the algorithm. This is not a major sponsored podcast, or it's not on a network. It's an independent podcast. So that means the only way that other people see it is through shares. And seeing as nobody wants anything that I have to share, it would help a tremendous amount if you would share that with them. I appreciate everybody that's done that so far, and I appreciate all the support. If you want to get a hold of the podcast, like I was saying before I interrupted myself, the email is texmexandcandy@gmail.com, TEXMEXANDCANDY, texmexandcandy@gmail.com. I don't know why they made it that complicated, but yeah, I had somebody email me who actually wanted to be a co-host, or wanted to come up like a guest host. And I tried emailing that person back, but to be honest with you, I was so used to getting only spam email at the time that I stopped checking that email for probably 2 months. So my response to that person, whoever you are, it's late and I apologize. And obviously when you hear this, if you're still listening, it's going to be probably another half a year before you hear this. But yeah, I was not just, quote, ghosting you. I literally just hadn't checked my email. But yeah, so any of y'all that are interested in getting a hold of the show, you can also leave a voice review on the Anchor FM website, whatever. I would love to hear your thoughts on the regular show or on the podcast in general. Any ideas you have, all of that. That's cool. So yeah, let's till then, well, I'm not gonna say let's do anything. You do what you want to do. Maybe watch some regular show, whatever. But till then, I wish you all the best, and I will see you I'll talk to you in a couple weeks with Weekend at Benson's. And till then, insert catchphrase here.